Hi, Stephen.
Hello, Shona.
Let's start in China, where the Beijing Car Show opens to the public today.
Yeah, and it's a big deal because China is the world's largest car market. So there's a lot of foreign automakers really hoping to cash in there. There were 22 million cars sold in China last year, up by nearly 14%. And that market is expected to grow by another 10% this year. All of the big players in the industry are in Beijing trying to cash in. Let's just have a look at how their sales broke down last year. Volkswagen came out on top of the foreign car maker selling in China with almost 3.3 million cars sold, swiftly followed by America's General Motors. But PSA, Peugeot Citroën, the French car maker, lagging far behind those two. They'll be hoping to make up ground now that they've secured 800 million euros worth of investment from China's Dongfeng. To do so, they're hoping to revive some classic brands, as our correspondents Baptiste Felivoz and Paul James now report from Beijing.
In the 1960s, it was a popular choice for the affluent in France. Today, the DS is looking for a resurgence in China. PSA has chosen Beijing to unveil its latest SUV. With its spacious design and chrome plating, the vehicle is certain to appeal to the Chinese consumer.
This vehicle is commercially a priority for the Chinese market. It's a very important market for our growth and our profitability. That's the reason why we're unveiling this concept here in China.
PSA wants the Middle Kingdom to be its primary market in 2015. However, PSA only has 4% of the market share so far, despite a steady increase in sales. PSA has a fourth factory on the drawing board and is trying to innovate through its design center in Shanghai. Nearly 1,000 people work here. To design a vehicle that will cater to Chinese tastes, 3 keys have to be kept in mind.
Firstly, Chinese people want an elegant car, a comfortable car, and a spacious car. This is a vehicle that is family-friendly. People don't drive much by themselves here.
In a few months, PSA will begin sharing this center with China's Dongfeng, which just became a capital partner with the French firm. Even though PSA is revealing some of its intellectual property rights to Dongfeng, in the end, it seems worth it.
It's normal for us to give our technology to our partner, but we're paid royalties in exchange, and that helps us to recover. So it's a win-win situation, and it will allow us to speed up our growth here in the market.
To set itself apart in China, PSA has to first convince Chinese drivers of its quality, as French vehicles are still viewed here in China as mid-range, family-oriented, and a step behind their American or German counterparts.
Let's go to Japan next, where key trade figures have shown another challenge for the world's third largest economy. The value of the country's imports over its exports nearly quadrupled over the financial year, which ended in March in Japan. The country's been exporting more goods as the value of its currency falls, up over 10%, as you can see. But imports have also soared. This is mainly down to imported energy that Japan needs in the wake of the Fukushima nuclear disaster, but that's left its trade deficit at over 1.4 trillion yen, or around $14 billion at the end of March. Just yet another challenge for the Prime Minister Shinzo Abe as he's trying to revive the Japanese economy.
And is that having any effect on the markets?
Actually, the Nikkei is actually up in trading in Tokyo today, so the investors not taking too much fright from those figures on the trade deficit. Not such a positive picture, though, on the Shanghai Composite, rather, and on the Kospi in Seoul. No trading in Hong Kong today because of the Easter holiday. And generally, it's quite a light trading day on the markets as a result of the European markets close later. There's less trading volume.
Take us through some of the day's company news now, starting with a possible deal in the pharmaceutical sector.
Yeah, the American giant Pfizer is said to be considering offering more than $100 billion to buy the British drug manufacturer AstraZeneca. The Sunday Times newspaper says Pfizer has made a preliminary takeover bid for the firm. AstraZeneca is the UK's second largest pharmaceutical company and is valued at some $80 billion. The Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera is to give away 20 million free copies on a single day ahead of the European elections in May. The stunt will celebrate Italy's economic recovery with a special edition as the paper seeks new print and online subscriptions. Considered Italy's newspaper of record, it's been hit by falling advertising revenue in recent years, and its parent company narrowly avoided bankruptcy last year. Sales of Sony's PlayStation 4 have topped 7 million, outstripping its main rival, the Xbox One. Microsoft doesn't release sales figures, but says it's shipped 5 million of the new Xbox model to retailers. The two consoles first went on sale last November, launching a battle between the industry rivals to win over gamers.
Finally, the crisis in Ukraine has affected many businesses so far, but it's not stopping one American brand from setting up in Moscow.
Yeah, you might remember McDonald's closed down its outlets in Crimea at the height of the crisis there, and that led to the Deputy Speaker of the Russian Parliament suggesting that McDonald's should in fact close down all of its outlets in Russia. Well, despite that, Hooters is opening in Moscow next week, the well-known American restaurant chain. That's the brainchild of the Russian-born NBA player Andrei Kirilenko, who plays for the Brooklyn Nets. He doesn't seem very bothered by the idea of bringing this extremely American concept to Russia. He told Bloomberg, "What do politics have to do with a sports bar?" So a very business-centred philosophy there.
A sports bar, but a sports bar with a twist.
With a very, very particular twist. You may have gotten the idea from those images.
All right, thank you very much, Stephen Carroll. That was the day's business news. Now on to the papers now, the French papers with Kyle G. Brown. Welcome, Kyle.
Good morning.
We've been reporting on the 4 French journalists who were held hostage in Syria, and their liberation, of course, is big news today.
It's big news. It's across the French papers. And the Parisien, in particular, is talking about the conditions that the hostages went through. They were in captivity for 10 months. Actually, I say the conditions. Not a lot has been revealed just yet, but they did reveal that they were kept underground for many of those 10 months, that they were kept in darkness. They didn't see the light of day for most of the time. They were moved from place to place to keep them in a state of confusion, it was said. And Parisien